And there you have it. There you have it. You're not going to get that breakdown or analysis anywhere else. I mean, it's not that difficult, to be honest. It's pretty basic. But around here, it's not going to happen. You see, if you didn't spot all this stuff on your own, you're the dumb money. You're the fucking dumb money. And let me tell you something. I can guarantee you, aside from the one-off, the 0.1% who, you're going to get 0.1% in anything. That's virtually impossible. That's the luck factor. Everybody on going to YouTube, listening to all these fucking con artists and frauds and idiots, you're not going to make any money. You're going to blow up, guaranteed. Write it down. You're going to do shitty. Now, you may do well in a raging bull market. Over time, you're going to be broke as fuck. Okay? If you want to make money in the investment world, the easiest way to do it is to con people, like all these fake investment gurus. That's where they're making all their money. They're making their money selling you the idea that they know what they're talking about. And the fact is that they're frauds. Show me a single person on ScamTube that talks about investments that has a fucking clue what they're talking about. Now, I'm talking about namely people who are portraying themselves as, investment experts. Okay? Show me a single person. There's not a single person. That's fact. In fact, all these people, and it's just amazing because I don't even think anybody on YouTube who's come across me even has a fucking clue that I'm so far above most of the tenured professionals out there. So how far do you think I am away from these people, these fucking idiots on YouTube? They're like children. They're like infants. You understand that? They're like infants, mentally impaired infants compared to me and my insight, my knowledge. If you don't understand that, then you haven't really seen what I've done. And once again, track record's there. And, the very first thing, look, you're going to listen to somebody. First thing you should do, if you're not a fucking idiot, that is to say, is you should find out exactly what qualifies them to be talking about something. How are they qualified? What's their credibility? Now, if you're talking about stupid shit, pop culture and all kinds of nonsense like that, okay. Politics, okay. But when you're talking about serious things, some very serious things, you better be qualified. You better have really good credentials. And when you're talking about the investment world, you better have rock solid, hardcore credentials and results. Results. Okay? You can't be some slumlord and decides to have a YouTube channel pitching 8 pillars of dog shit because he thinks he's qualified because he used to teach part-time high school kids about investments.
I'm pretty lazy. I don't want to do research. He loves it. He said, guys, I'm pretty lazy. I don't want to do research. I'm pretty lazy. I don't want to do research. I'm pretty lazy. I don't want to do research. I'm pretty lazy. I don't want to do research.
Or another guy who keeps claiming, he brags about how I was a teacher of high school kids and investing contest. What the fuck is that? I mean, like, who would say that? Like, dude, you're not embarrassed? This is how low level these people are.
I've been teaching for quite a few years. I've been doing investing and finance classes for kids and investing and finance classes for kids and trying to teach them to really take over the world when it comes to investing for kids.
There's other people out there that not just Larry, Keenan, and myself, of course, we're going to lead you to the promised land.
For kids.
Folks, let me explain something to you. Every single one of these fake investment gurus, they're so fucking clueless, and it's just sad that you guys don't even know. It's fucking disgusting and sad. And it's sad you think you're actually going to get, some people say, they ask me, oh, well, what about this? It's impossible for a credible, legitimate financial expert, investment analyst like myself to actually provide any substantial, relevant investment insight on a platform like YouTube. Do you know why? Because that's not how you get YouTube is about, it's the CNBC Jim Cramer model. It's just splattering out shit. Blah, 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 blah. This day, today, this, blah, 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 blah. So today you talk about this stock, okay, and you decide to buy the stock because somebody talked about it. The next day, they're talking about other stocks. Meanwhile, you're holding this stock. It's not doing too well. You want to hear what's going on with the stock. And you don't get what's going on. They're not going to tell you what's going on. You understand. They don't follow the same stocks. They just blabber shit out. Okay? And let me just explain. All these people, and it's funny because only over the past few years, I'm assuming, because I know it wasn't this way several years ago, you got this trend of people, these fraudsters coming out. This is my discounted cash flow valuation method, and I'm going to show you, right? You didn't have that. So what is it about these people recently that decide to do this? Like, how come nobody from YouTube ever did it before? It's nothing new. The reason why is because it's a complete fucking scam. First and foremost, not a single person on YouTube knows how to use discounted cash flow valuation. That's fact. Okay? Nobody that I've seen. Okay? None of these fake investment gurus. Okay? And, one of the problems, by the way, I think, is this guy, this Damadorian guy, who, he makes it sound like, oh, yeah, I'm just doing. Folks, you can't value technology stocks using that method, first of all. Second of all, anytime it's used as just a small portion of the total valuation exercise. Okay? You have to do it. You have to create a financial model. Okay? But the most important thing is you can't use it for valuing technology stocks. It's impossible. Why do you think this fucking clown, Paul, is never investing in technology stocks? Oh, they're too overvalued. Hey, Paul, because you can't use discounted cash flow, you dummy, you dingbat. This is the same idiot, by the way. And I haven't even watched this guy's videos hardly at all. Any of these fake investment gurus, they're so much full of complete disinformation that I would be completely spending all of my time just correcting one of them on a daily basis. Paul, for example, is so stupid. He thinks, and I have a video on this. I don't think I've released it yet. He's making fun of Stockmo, which obviously Stockmo is a complete idiot. But this goes to show you, this proves actually that Stockmo, as much of an idiot and scam artist that he is, he actually knows more than Paul Gabriel. That's right. Can you believe that? You know why? I have evidence. Because Paul, and I'm going to teach all you fake investment fucking gurus, you dirty fucking rats, most of them are dirty rats, a little lesson here. And of course, write this down, because some of them are going to start to repeat this now. And why do you think Tom Nash coming out with his videos? Oh, if you never work again, buy NVIDIA. Because he found out that I've been recommending NVIDIA every fucking year since 2009. And now it's not only the most important stock in the world, it might be the most important stock ever terms of what's been happening to it, and it's going to be the most valuable stock. Okay. You see, this fucking fraud, he wants everyone to buy it when the market cap is already 2.6 trillion. Tom, where were you when it was market cap 10 billion when I was recommending it? You fucking fraud. All these frauds.
He wants to tell you long-term investors because he missed the crash. He doesn't know what's going on. And so he wants to this is where all these fake gurus come out now after the market collapsed. They have no fucking clue because this is pump the latest hot stock. They're fucking idiots. Oh, long-term hold. If you held this long, dollar cost average. And Tom Nash also throws out his fucking bullshit. I hate saying his name, Tom Nash. It's not his fucking name. He's a fraud. He's a liar. He throws out his discounted cash flow fucking horse shit, which is a complete scam. He doesn't know how to use it, and it's not even applicable to high-tech companies, even if he knew how to use it, which he doesn't. And then he throws out P/E ratio. He wants to focus on P/E ratio. Oh, really? P/E ratio? What did you learn about P/E ratio? You were saying nobody used it. A few years ago, you said anybody that uses P/E ratio is clueless. You see, I made a video exposing this fraud, and when he heard me talk about the fact that I'm a Wall Street top insider, and I claim that P/E ratio is used by the industry, it's used by every credible investor as one of the metrics. Once he heard that, not only did he pull his video down, which I'm going to show you here in a minute because I saved it, but he also started using the P/E ratio. That's how fucking stupid and clueless and as much of a fraud as this guy is. Complete fucking fraud scammer.
The point of this video is that if you watch their infomercials on YouTube, which is just an infomercial for the product, you notice that they talk all the goddamn time about P/E ratio this, and P/E ratio that. Now, all I want you to do after this video, don't trust my word for it, don't trust their word for it, go through their videos and see how many times they talk about P/E ratio as an investment decision mechanism and how it's important in investing, in value investing, in P/E. Go and find somebody who's ever worked in the financial industry, an analyst, somebody who worked in the trading floor, anybody with actual trading or investing experience, anybody from Wall Street that you can get a hold of, and ask them, how do you know that somebody's a clown, a buffoon, and is a fake? If they mention PE, this is exactly what it is. If somebody mentions to you PE, that means they've never worked a day in their life on Wall Street or in any sort of investment capacity, because nobody is using PEs in the industry, literally nobody. And if you hear somebody talk about PEs, that's like an immediate kind of giveaway. You know that they're just bullshitting. They're not from the industry. It's an irrelevant metric, and you can ask any investment professional, they'll tell you that. The only people who talk about PEs are little boys on the internet who pretend to be value investors. That's how you know they're fucking fake. Simple as that. Just check me on this. The only metric that people in the industry actually use as far as multiples is price to sales. Nobody uses PE. Trust me, it's just nonsense. Like in Russian we say, бред, пиздец.
I'll tell you what, Mr. Nash, you should go back to Russia, where, very corrupt country. You might be able to work as an analyst there because you're dealing with the bogus stock market. Now, let me just go ahead and be clear about this. Mr. Nash, you mentioned that all you got to do is find somebody that's worked on Wall Street as an experienced investor, a trader, an analyst. First of all, traders, the more you open your mouth, the more it's obvious that you were never an analyst, okay? That's obvious to me. Traders don't really care about any of that stuff. Oh, they're the last people that are going to look at anything in terms of fundamentals, okay? The second thing is that, let me explain to you who I am, in case you haven't figured it out by now. The name is Mike Stathis, and I run a research firm, AVA Investment Analytics. Now, I hope this gets to you because I want to hear what you have to say. Oh, well, he's a nobody. I worked at UBS. I worked at Bear Stearns. I've worked in venture capital, merchant banking. I've advised multi-billion-dollar hedge funds, venture funds, endowments, corporate treasury departments, mutual funds. I'm not even going to talk about my tracker because I'd be here too long. I'm the top guy that predicted the financial crisis in detail, in depth, and I wrote about it in 2 books. I'm the only person in the world that not only wrote in a book, showed people, actually instructed them how to short the subprimes and the banks and home builders, but I'm also the only person in the world that predicted that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac would go bankrupt and be bailed out by taxpayers. I predicted that in a book, okay, in 2006. And since that time, my track record has remained pretty remarkable. So I am a world-class analyst. I cover many things. And let me just tell you one thing right now. You're absolutely wrong. You absolutely have no idea what you're talking about. You are an absolute clown. PE ratios are exceedingly important. And for you to not understand that tells me that you have never been an analyst working on Wall Street. Absolutely not. Now, I'm going to educate all you kids out there who might have fallen for this con artist so that you're going to at least learn something. Here's the deal, okay? And he says that price to sales, that's the only metric that's used on Wall Street. I can't even begin to tell you how wrong that is. That's a joke. PE ratios are very important. Now, for certain stocks, obviously, you're not going to have a PE ratio. The stock has to be profitable. Tom apparently doesn't respect the importance of a PE ratio because, well, that's why he's gotten himself blown up into all these garbage stocks, many of which apparently are not making any money.
No way. Paul is defrauding people. Everything money, they're frauds. They are frauds. And they've got enough of a following, they can easily be taken down by the FTC. All it needs, you can just file complaints. They get enough complaints, they'll sue them. He's defrauding people with this bullshit, his complete fucking scammy ass bullshit. It's what it is. He's not qualified, has no experience to be charging money. He's steering people into the fucking poorhouse. I mean, just take a look at the videos. The evidence is there. He has no fucking clue what he's talking about. And his little pillars bullshit is basically discounted cash flow nonsense. Everybody who uses that shit on YouTube, you show me somebody who knows how to use it. You don't use it to value technology stocks. Okay? It doesn't work. It doesn't work. That's a fact. Now, this is why it's important to understand who you're listening to. Because if you come across somebody who's a big swinging fucking dick, like me, whatever I say, you better write it the fuck down as the gospel. I think I've earned that right. You understand? Take a look at my track record. You understand? If I say something, it's really fucking important. Okay? You got it? That's the way it works, kids. That's the way it fucking works. Okay? All these fake investment gurus on YouTube scamming people. And the problem is the YouTube audience, which is the dumbest fucking audience in the world. The largest platform of complete idiots. That's YouTube. Because it's the audience that creates the demand. They create the demand for the scammers. That's why all the scammers are on YouTube. It's a gravy train of scams. It's easy pickings because the audience, they want more. They want more. Okay? That's the fact. That's the reality. That's the sad reality.
If these numbers are accurate on Alibaba, and because of Munger, I believe they are accurate, I think Alibaba is a stock that I want to own for 5 to 10 years, at least.
And this massive pullback has to do a lot.
I regard Alibaba as one of the worst mistakes I ever made. In thinking about Alibaba, I got charmed with the idea of their position on the Chinese internet. I didn't stop to realize they're still a goddamn retailer.
Right? Remember that? He named all these value investors. And the thing is, these guys that he idolizes, obviously, I know a lot more than they do. Okay? Anybody who's calling Alibaba a value stock is a fucking idiot. Anybody who calls any technology stock, they say, well, I'm a value investor because I'm buying it below its intrinsic value. That's like a fraud. That shows you how stupid the person is. I don't care who the fuck they are. You cannot determine the intrinsic value of a high-tech stock. It's impossible, not with certainty. Why? How do you think he's determining the intrinsic value, right? He's using valuation methods that are associated with traditional valuation, from Benjamin Graham, his idol, one of his idols, right? You all understand this? You all understand what value investing is? It was created by, the mentality was created by individuals who lived decades ago. Okay, Benjamin Graham, Dodd, a few other people, right? It's a certain mentality of investing, and basically you're looking for companies that have, they're selling for a price lower than their intrinsic value, correct? Right. So what do you do? Well, obviously you have to determine what their intrinsic value is, right? Okay, how do you do that? There's several different ways to do that, right? But each of those methods, they have nothing to do with determining the value of intangible assets. Do you realize that most of the companies, I'm not talking about even the NASDAQ, just the S&P 500 alone, most of the companies in the S&P 500 have the majority of their revenue producing assets categorized as intangible assets. How do you value stocks that are generating the majority of their revenues by intangible assets? Why do you think Warren Buffett doesn't understand technology? Because Warren Buffett is a value investor. Value investing is restricted to value type companies that operate through dynamics that don't rely as much on intangible assets. Why? Because you can't determine with any measure of reliability cash flows of intangible assets. You understand? Nobody's ever mentioned that, have they? Think about it. It's not that difficult once I explain it. It might be a little difficult to come across if you don't really understand valuation. Okay? That's a fact. What I'm speaking is a fact. Okay? But Paul's so fucking stupid. And all these idiots, it's a value. I'm a value investor.
If these numbers are accurate on Alibaba, and because of Munger, I believe they are accurate, I think Alibaba is a stock that I want to own for 5 to 10 years, at least.
And this massive pullback has to do a lot.
I regard Alibaba as one of the worst mistakes I ever made. In thinking about Alibaba, I got charmed with the idea of their position on the Chinese internet. I didn't stop to realize they're still a goddamn retailer.
This Sven Carlin, another fraudster con man who doesn't know diddly shit about the market.
Good day, fellow investors. My name is Sven Carlin, and today I'll show you a perfect, sexy, low-cost way to hedge your portfolio. Good day, fellow investors. Today I'm going to talk about the best investment for the next recession. It's coming. Whether it will be tomorrow or 2 years from now, I don't know, but somehow I feel it's coming. Everything looks too good. Good day, fellow investors. Our stock analysis playlist for 2025 has already 39 videos.
This fucking con man, he actually called Tesla a value investment about 2 years ago when it was towards the peak. He was calling it, and I have, folks, I'm telling you, how do I know? I saw him write it down. This fucker was hanging out, he probably still is, in Yahoo chat boards, stock chat boards. Okay? This guy, and you can probably find videos, he calls, Tesla's a value investment. No, it's not. It's impossible. See, they're misusing the term value investing. Value investing only applies to companies that have the majority of their revenues or cash flows are coming from tangible assets, like U.S. Steel, like Alcoa, right? Property, plant, and equipment. You understand? They do things that it's more predictable to determine an estimate for the cash flows. But how do you determine? How do you value companies that have all types of complex intellectual property? How do you do that? How? Huh? How do you do that? How do you do that with any type of reliability? Why do you think value investors don't invest in technology stocks? Now, any person who claims they're a value investor and they're investing in technologies is just a fraud. They're just a fucking idiot and a fraud. Okay? You all understand. What's happened is that some of these professional guys who call themselves value investors, they have basically redefined what value investing is. Why? Because value investing is pretty close to dead. Okay, it's pretty close to dead. It hasn't been doing too well for a long time. Ever since the turn of the century, it was not doing so well. Because why? Well, because that's when the tech boom began. Okay, so the typical value investments don't really perform that well. So what's happened? These guys have basically they've committed style drift. And they've masked that by claiming that they're a value investor. Show me how you're going to estimate accurately the value of a high-tech company. Can't do it. You can't do it. Okay? And that's fact. That's fact. And it seems like, I don't know, I've never heard anybody talk about this, but it is an absolute fact. Okay, you have to know about, it's not that difficult, but you see that this whole discounted cash flow bullshit, people are using it because it seems to make sense. All the idiots are fooled by, I remember one clown who actually, I didn't know how to value stocks and I watched Everything Money and I learned,
They make fantastic material. I think if you're going to watch anybody, besides me, of course, to learn how to invest for the long run and you want to play with individual stocks, this is the channel to subscribe to. They actually have excellent explanations of how to actually analyze companies, project future cash flows, and they'll generally set you up for success. And I don't believe they charge that much for their Patreon and their software. Now, you may think, since I hate on a bunch of other people, that I hate this channel. I actually don't. I actually think they make fantastic material. I think if you're going to watch anybody, besides me, of course, to learn how to invest for the long run and you want to play with individual stocks, this is the channel to subscribe to. They actually have excellent explanations of how to actually analyze companies, project future cash flows, and they'll generally set you up for success. And I don't believe they charge that much for their Patreon and their software. I think if you're going to watch anybody, besides me, of course, to learn how to invest for the long run and you want to play with individual stocks, this is the channel to subscribe to. They actually have excellent explanations of how to actually analyze companies, project future cash flows, and they'll generally set you up for success. And I don't believe they charge that much for their Patreon and their software. Yeah, I'm a huge fanboy of Everything Money. So you guys are actually the ones that, really kind of opened my eyes to how to value stocks. So, I've always been an index fund investor. I didn't really give a crap about individual stocks. And then all of a sudden, 2020 came around, pandemic, Robinhood, all that stuff. And I said, okay, maybe I'll check out some stocks. And I have an accounting background, so I know how to read financial statements. But I really had no clue how to project cash flows and use a discount rate, and that's how you got the price.
Yeah, me neither.
So it was actually really eye-opening. I was like, wow, these Everything Money guys are pretty cool.
What a fucking idiot. Okay? Fucking idiots. There's so many idiots on YouTube talking about investments. They're so fucking clueless. And the thing is that the audience is so stupid. You people are so fucking stupid. that you don't even understand how to ascertain who's credible and who's not. You're going to go by, well, he has more subscribers. I don't listen to somebody who doesn't show his face. Just completely mentally retarded logic. What you really do, and I think it's because the people are too stupid to they don't have a chance of doing due diligence. What you do is you assess the credibility. First and foremost, I could have not done anything. Maybe I don't have the track record I have. Maybe I didn't predict the financial. Okay, let's assume I'm a Wall Street insider. That alone places me in a different universe from the YouTube grifters. I'm a Wall Street insider. Got it? And then you add on what I've done, my accomplishments. Probably the greatest call in the history of investments. The call on the financial crisis. It wasn't just one bet. If you analyze the material, you'll see it was amazing, several amazing bets. Right? Several amazing bets, including my call nailing the market bottom at 6,500 in the Dow. That's right. Not just on the day it made it, but I wrote it in a book. And I mentioned it a couple of times a year before. 6,500. So that material, that research that I did, forecasting the financial crisis, I mean, I can't imagine where there's a better call in the history of investing, because it had numerous bets based upon a thesis, right? So think about that for a second. Who the fuck are you going to listen to? You're not going to come across somebody like me ever again. Now you're going to come across people, media's going to tell you this guy's great and this guy's great. And they're going to say, well, because he did this and this and this. You don't have any evidence of it, do you? What's the evidence? Show me the goods. Show me the goods. You understand? So many people are brainwashed. Show me the evidence. It's kind of like these these trading gurus, these guys that claim they can make so much money trading. They can't produce the evidence. If you are claiming that you're a great trader and you've got the calls back and forth, right? You got to show all your calls, right? But of course, it's getting more sophisticated now because, as I've mentioned before, you can even actually now do live trading. Live trading, and it can be fake. You can hook up. Trust me, you can hook it up. If you got your own servers, you can fake it all, and people don't even know it. Okay, you can fake anything on the internet. Anything on the internet. That's fact. Okay, that's fact. It's funny though. You think about it. You think about it for a second. All these people, okay, all these fraudsters out there, and getting back to Paul, he trusts all the value investors that he idolizes, Charlie Munger and a couple of other guys, and they believed in Alibaba, so he believes in Alibaba, right? Think about that. Think about that for a second. I actually warned people about Alibaba, specifically in 2017. I mean, I don't have time to go through all the material of my research because that's a full-time job. It's more than a full-time job. That would be a full-time job for me, who's done the research, right? Because I've done so much over the years. So sometimes, I come across stuff later on. Like, for instance, I forgot that I actually covered it. I knew I covered it a few times before, but I actually ran across something I did in 2017. I posted the video where I talked about, and I did it, after that as well, several times after. I talked specifically about the Chinese shell companies, okay, And I used Alibaba as an example. Okay. So my point is that that's a huge risk. You're dealing with a communist government. And let me just go ahead and tell you right now what you're not going to hear. You know, you're not going to hear this. You're not going to hear a lot of stuff that I say anywhere else. Why? Well, once again, take a look at my track record. And you'll understand it's not because it's not true what I'm going to tell you. It's because I'm at the top. That's why you're not going to hear a lot of things I'm going to tell you. Because I'm at the fucking top. Okay? That's the deal. And what I'm going to tell you is the following. Many of these stock markets outside of the Western world, they're not really legit. They're not really legitimate, depending upon what we're talking about. Okay? And I mentioned this many times in the past. You cannot have a stock market, a legitimate stock market in a communist country. I mean, think about it. You all know what communism is. You cannot own private property. You see, the government, the state, the people control the property. You cannot own private property. You cannot own businesses. You understand that, right? So how can you have a stock market? You can't. You see? And that's why China structured its stocks that way, right? As shell companies, basically, variable interest entities. That's why they did that. You see? That's the situation. So that was always a risk. That was always a risk. Now, and that's why, of course, you know, I would never recommend a share, you know, listed on China, mainland China, right? And now the situation with China and Hong Kong, even the H shares are starting to get, you know, there's some things that are going to be going on. So my point is that that's a pretty basic risk. And then think about what we were going through geopolitically, right? The trade issue with China. And then Charlie Munger, like, how could he even think about Alibaba? Why would he do that? As I mentioned before, the guy was obviously senile. But, you know, the little YouTube, he says he's senile. Who is he? Well, guess who's the big swinging dick? Guess who knows more than Charlie fucking Munger? Everybody and their fucking mother on YouTube. Yeah, Charlie Munger. Yeah, well, he's Alibaba. Yeah. And who was the one guy saying, you guys, you're fucking stupid. You're crazy. You don't understand the risks. Okay? You understand. Right? Right. You got it? Yet, it's like you got people, and the people on YouTube are so fucking stupid. And let me tell you, you listen to these fuckers, you're watching these YouTube, oh, I just watch for entertainment. No. People say that about Jim Cramer, too. You don't understand how the human brain works. You don't put dog shit in your mind because there are subconscious things you're not aware of. You stay away from dog shit or you're going to get burned. You understand? That's a fact. I'm telling you right now. If you don't have a competitive advantage, well, like what's your competitive advantage? What? Oh, you listen to Meet Kevin? That's your competitive advantage into bankruptcy. Okay? If you don't have a competitive advantage, I'm telling you right now, everybody who's watching anybody on YouTube for any type of investment information, let me tell you right now, you will never beat the index. You have no fucking chance, ever. So you may not like me saying that. It may make you feel bad. I'm actually helping you. I'm helping your net worth. I'm helping you recapture the life you would have wasted spending tens of thousands of hours watching stupid bullshit content, researching, studying, think you're going to beat the market. You're not going to. If you're going on YouTube thinking you're going to get information from somebody that you're going to do well. You're not going to. Okay? If you're doing that, you have no chance. You have zero chance. You have zero chance of doing well. Buy the S&P and forget it. See, the problem is that the crowd on YouTube is so stupid. I can show them a chart of an S&P ETF, VOO. And then I can show them a chart of VT, like a world index, and show you how terrible the performance has been of VT. And then I'll even explain why using my brilliant fucking research and knowledge that I've amassed over the years. And they'll still not believe me. That's how stupid they are. Okay? The time to be in the emerging markets was in the rearview mirror. Got it? I mentioned this on a stream a couple of years ago. I said, look, if you want international, what you do is you buy India. Okay? That's it. You buy India. And now people are starting to realize India. I've been in India for many years. Okay? And the worst thing is that you guys are not going to get anywhere, and you're empowering a bunch of frauds. All these people on YouTube with their channels are frauds. All of them. Now, some of them don't begin that way. Some of them don't begin that way. And I'm not talking about the financial genre. All of them begin that way. Every genre, even these travel people, they all become frauds. Why? Well, they start out, no, I want to show people I'm retired. I'm living the life, and I'm in retired in Costa Rica, and I'm going to show you videos. And then what happens is that they start to make money. And then they realize, I got to get better content. I got to want to put what people want to see. And the money gets more and more and more. Okay. And they get infected. And they become like a drug addict. And the content starts to suffer. And the content becomes more clickbaity and more bullshitty. And then they get their young girlfriend or wife to pose in bikinis for clickbait. Folks, I know how it all works. I've been watching this shit for a long time. Okay? Every single person on YouTube who's monetizing their channel, selling ads on their channel, they're a scammer. They may not begin that way, but they end up that way. And that's the sad truth. That's the sad truth. These financial guys, investment guys, they're all scammers. And the sad thing is that the people that think that they're actually getting, because they're so ignorant, I'm learning. You're learning nothing. What are you learning that's going to compete against me? You fucking stupid. But you see, they don't know about me. They don't know. When you don't know jack shit, it's easy to impress you. You understand? If you're not learning top tier things that not a lot of people know, and getting skills not a whole lot of people have, and developing good judgment, forget it. You understand? None of these people on YouTube have a fucking clue. So the problem is that their audiences are fueling them, and their audiences are not, some of them, oh yeah, I'm doing well. Let's see where you are down the road. None of them are going to do well. None of them. And the problem is these people are the ones that are suffering. And they're building, they're enriching the channel members, the channel owners. It's shocking. It's remarkable to me. It's like one big joke. It's the biggest facade I can think of, other than Elon Musk's FSD delusions. Okay, it's a big facade. Now, a lot of people realize the real way you make money is you pretend, they practice talking. Oh, he's good at talking. Oh, well, yeah. Wow, he sounds like he knows what he's talking about. They realize the real money is made pitching the game. You see? Pitching the game. You understand? It's one big scam. It's one huge scam. And there's many ways they fool people. Oh, look, he's transparent. He shows his portfolio. The transparency scam that I identified a few years ago. The transparency scam. That's what I call it. The transparency scam. Why do I call it that? Because it's a scam because the people who go out of their way to say, oh, look, I'm transparent. Folks, why is someone trying to convince you that they're transparent? They're conning you. They're conning you. There's no such thing as transparency on the internet. Okay? They're fooling people. You understand? They're fooling people. Oh, well, he's transparent. None of these people are transparent. They're all lying and cheating. Write it down. All different ways. Whether it's Sven Carlin, when he removes stocks from his little bullshit portfolio when they blow up, and if you talk about it, he deletes your comments. That's fact. Write it down. Or maybe it's Joseph Carlson who keeps adding money to his stocks and he doesn't tell you, right? So eventually he dollar cost averages himself into the green, right? And by the way, let me just mention, it's probably nobody on YouTube, I guess nobody knows how to really even assess performance. Here's how you do it, folks. Because the janitor boy does the same thing. You take a set pool of money at a certain period of time, and you say, okay, from this period of time to this period of time, what was the performance? Okay? That's how you measure performance. You don't basically, oh, look at my stocks. I mean, look, they're up 100% in 3 years. And yeah, okay, well, you kept adding money. You kept adding money. That's not realistic. You understand? You can't do it. You can't add money whenever you feel like it. And of course, that assumes, nobody's going to show the real evidence of their portfolios. They're all fucking liars. They're just fucking fake portfolios is what they are. Okay? They're YouTube portfolios. And a great example of someone with a transparency scam is Kevin Pathrath. He's going out of his way. Oh, look, here's my bank. Who would do that? Folks, anyone who would go out of their way to show, oh, see, look at this. They're trying to con you. Why would they? They're trying to they're conning you. It's obvious. And they're doing that. Why? Because it's not even real. It's fake. It's fake. And it's amazing to me, all these fucking jugheads on YouTube who pretend to have, oh yeah, I'm going to criticize Kevin. All they're doing is just giving him more fucking subscribers and views. Okay? Because they never really went after him. Oh yeah, he's bad. They don't go after him like they should. Because why? Because they're the same. They're the same. They're trying to climb the grifter ladder. You see? None of these guys ever come out and they just say, oh, well, he does have this much money. See, not a single time has have I ever heard anyone say, wait a second. I want to see the proof positive of his claims. These stupid idiots who pretend that they're against Kevin and these other fraudsters, they're actually on their side. Don't be fooled. It's a big circle jerk, folks. It's a big circle jerk. Okay? It's one big clusterfuck. I'm telling you right now. Something's got to be done. Something's got to be done. And it's going to take a few committed people because you can't rely on the audience of YouTube. It's going to, let me give you a little story here. Several years ago, when I was just completely annihilating the gold pumping scene.
Their earnings report is a complete game changer, at least for quite a while. Bottom line, NVIDIA now is going to enter the realm of Tesla, Apple, and all these other big, I mean, listen, NVIDIA can come down to 150, come down to $100. If you don't think it's possible, then you don't understand how the market works. I mean, listen, NVIDIA can come down to 150, come down to $100. If you don't think it's possible, then you don't understand how the market works.